Hi, this is Tad from Island, and today I'm joined by Brian Borthwell, who's one of our SEs based in Dallas. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Ted.
Hey, so you were just telling me an interesting use case you're working with a customer on regarding M&A, mergers and acquisitions. Can you tell me more?
Yeah, so I have a customer of mine based in DFW that they looked at Island for a couple of different pieces. One of the first use cases that they wanted to use us for was around their M&A. So they just acquired a company and they were trying to figure out how best to onboard this company to their internal web applications. So they were looking at a couple of different solutions. Do we ship out, deploy VPN or anything else like that? And we've been talking about the value of Island itself as in a different area. So we got to talking around what Island has to offer under Island Private Access or IPA. And so they started testing it. They deployed the connectors on premise and had their new acquisition tried out. The new acquisition loved it because one, it was nice and easy through the browser, and they didn't have to fire up VPN or do any other things that were complicated that this acquisition actually was kind of complaining about, like, hey, this is, extra steps for us. And it's not really great. So yeah, we streamlined it. Their end users are happier. The CISO is even happier because he gets full visibility in terms of what they're doing, as well as leveraging our posture check to say, okay, yep, this is the acquisitions machines. They're still clean, even though we don't have any sort of MDM or we don't have any management. I can at least get some visibility and control before allowing them to have access into these internal applications. So we carved it out. Their initial one was just for this acquisition group, allows access to this on-premise, a couple of different on-premise applications. And then we're actually going to wind up expanding out to the rest of the organization to start to replace some of the things that they use VPN for.
That's great. And having gone through a handful of M&A transactions myself, I know that for the acquired company, there can be a lot of employee concerns maybe. And so being able to streamline that, simplify it, give them a really positive onboarding experience can go a long way at making that, making the entire process much more smooth.
Yeah, and it's a nice and easy transition because the company's going to wind up using Island for default anyway. So all of these acquisition folks are going to be used to the security controls that are already in play. So there's very little transition and nothing changes for them. Authentication, everything else is just nice and easy.
And tell me a little more about that visibility question. Like what kind of stuff are they looking for, and what was the alternative maybe that they were considering?
So they had looked at us. They had looked at even some of our competitors. And in reality, the proof of concept we have was actually a bake-off between us and a couple of other that are in the category. And what they loved about us is just the pure visibility, because the CISO's concern was, hey, I'm losing some visibility to some of these sites because of the fact that I'm having to deal with the traditional break and inspect, right? So when it's a cert issue or whatever else, you guys can at least start to grant policy on those places where I'm not having to worry about, is the cert messed up or whatever else. And I get visibility in terms of what my users are doing, as well as I can enforce a level of control. So just even some of those CASB-like type functions, like being able to force their users to only access, in this case, they've also got customers that have specific like Google instances and Microsoft instances. So just be able to force those groups to those specific instances. And then the rest of everybody else force them to the main domain, the pieces like that, and just that visibility and granular control. And in reality, we actually wound up, based off what they can do with Island, they're re-architecting their whole, even their basic content filtering philosophy, just because of, hey, we can still leverage Island for the bulk of our pieces. Maybe some outliers go the traditional route, but they got them to rethink how they do their security in general.
Very cool. Is there anything else that you learned along the way with this customer?
It was one I learned that, because I always say as I'm talking, hey, it's really easy to pick up. But this customer, in reality, the CISO was right along in the console with us, and then he picked it up and was driving after a week of getting his hands on it. To see kind of, hey, this is what I'm thinking of, and this, based on what I'm seeing, this is how I want to adjust my whole security framework and my philosophy and my compliance policies, because I can greatly reduce my risk. And there's some risk I just don't care about. I don't have to care about anymore or worry about because it's minimized.
Very cool. Hey, thanks, Brian. We'll have you back here soon.
All right, talk to you later.